today I'm going out to a restaurant, which is very exciting because I haven't been to one since early last fall when I could still eat outside because for COVID safety reasons I refused to go to an indoors restaurant. So I am quite anxious about it because I know that even eating outside is not the most COVID safe thing to do, and I am just in a bundle of nerves today. And COVID safety has really been on my mind a lot lately because I just cannot understand how there are so many people out there who still believe the lie that the pandemic is over when there's so many people who still get it all the time. So yes, I might make this video about my views on COVID safety and the lack of them worldwide. Okay, I have made it to Tartu. I am still anxious. I'm looking forward to it because it is like a night out on town, which like pre-COVID used to really be exciting for me, and I guess I'm a bit excited as well, but I'm also fearful because I did get long COVID once and I don't even want to think about what health repercussions I would have if I got COVID again. So the COVID safety part is extremely important to me, and I am afraid to get it again. So I'm just waiting in the car until my mom and sister get off work, and then we can walk to Old Town together. I'm back from the dinner, and it was really nice. It was it was a bit uncomfortable from the anxiety, but it was still pretty nice. And because we've had this everlasting heat wave, but I guess that's climate change when you have weeks of 27-degree heat in May in Estonia. So yes, that's done. I am back home, but I didn't drink so that I could get back home. And I'll tell you more about my COVID opinions tomorrow. I still need to do my physical therapy exercises for my busted ankle. So I'll see you tomorrow. I woke up with this thunder, and this has been looming over us for about an hour, and I think that this storm is finally going to hit. There have been many thunder clouds, like sort of looming about, but really not hitting. But this time I think we're gonna get a proper full-on rain and a storm. I like watching thunder. Nothing, nary a drop was seen from that cloud. So I will keep on watering my garden by hand because that is apparently the type of May we're having, a drought May. Climate change sucks. Now let me let out the chickens and we can have a chat. So yeah, how do I begin to unravel the mess of emotions that I have about COVID caution? I guess I should start from the beginning. I have been masking and being really COVID cautious since the beginning of the pandemic. I have never stopped masking, really. And the reasons for that are twofold, and those are personal and societal, I guess. And the personal reason is that I have many chronic illnesses, and their combination puts me in the COVID risk group, which means that I am very likely to suffer adverse effects from getting COVID. And that was sort of proven to be right when I caught COVID at the New Year's of 2022-23, which resulted in me getting long COVID in the form of extreme exhaustion that kind of affects me still at May of 2024. And because of that, and because of how badly it has affected my ability to work and function overall as a human, I am extremely afraid of getting COVID again because I know that if I get long COVID with just one infection, it the adverse effects of getting a second infection will likely be worse than the first ones were. So that's the personal reason why I simply cannot stop being COVID cautious, and why I need the people that I meet up with to be COVID cautious as well, which has made dating quite difficult, as you can imagine. And the second reason is societal, and I would say that that is the more important reason. I think that it's part of my autism that has sort of enhanced my desire for justice, and the way that I see it is that wearing a mask and being COVID cautious overall keeps everyone else safe, not just you yourself. Because we know with scientific evidence that every 10th infection results in long COVID, which is debilitating for at least 4 months. We also know that COVID is a cardiovascular disease, and even mild cases of it can induce damage in your literal organs, ranging from your brain to your lungs and heart and kidneys, because it is a cardiovascular disease. Not an upper respiratory disease, as we were led on to believe by the leading opinion in the beginning of the pandemic. We also know from scientific evidence that it is extremely important for everyone to wear a mask, not just putting the onus of not just putting the responsibility of being careful to the individual, because one-way masking is not even nearly as efficient as everyone masking. So that makes this extremely important for as many people to mask as possible, because that is the only way that we can keep the maximum amount of people overall safe from this debilitating virus. And I cannot overstate how debilitating this virus actually is, because the the adverse effects of long COVID have actually been recorded in the economic impact. For example, in Germany, the economy has literally been recorded to be lower because of long COVID and because of all the COVID infections that people keep having, that keeps just knocking them out of being able to work. So the effects of COVID are so multi-layered, both like from the personal to the societal to the economic impacts. And yet all the institutions that are supposed to keep the people safe have decided to ignore all this evidence, and they have simply decided to move on as if the pandemic is over, which it most certainly is not. I mean, we keep getting new COVID infections all the time. And what blows my mind the most is that in the beginning of the pandemic, everyone was completely content to be careful and wear a mask in order to keep those who are at risk safe, also while keeping the people who are not at risk safe as well. And at this point, it doesn't even make sense for people to separate each other into those who are at risk and those who are not, because getting COVID just once already gives you such an immunodeficiency that it puts you at risk. And at this point, it is really difficult to find a person who has not had COVID before. So basically, the entirety of society is at risk of getting adverse effects from COVID at this point. So in the beginning of the pandemic, where we were happy to take precautions to keep the risk groups safe, as who we thought to be elderly and the children and basically anyone with chronic illnesses safe. So why have people now decided to just ignore the danger that COVID still poses to those who are at risk, even though now everyone is at risk? I just don't understand it. It is the simplest of things to wear a mask in order to keep yourself and your fellow humans safe. And it has been proven that everyone wearing a mask is very effective at keeping the spread of the virus down. So why are people no longer willing to keep each other safe? Where has the empathy gone? Where, like, why are people no longer caring of others? And why are people no longer caring of their close ones, their families, their friends, anyone really? Why has society stopped wanting everyone to be healthy? Because this is what is happening. By the majority of people not wearing a mask anymore, it is putting everyone at risk of getting COVID, and therefore long COVID, and suffering adverse health effects from it from 4 months to possibly years. And that is why I believe that the societal reason for me being COVID cautious is more important, because if all of society were of the opinion that people's health, that the society's collective health is important, then we wouldn't be having this issue of COVID affecting everyone, of COVID affecting so many people that it infects. And because everyone has stopped masking and no one has even considered improving the ventilation of indoor spaces, this has made it extremely difficult for those who are at risk and still COVID cautious to literally be part of society. So now anyone who is at risk is putting themselves in danger in so many situations, from going to public transport, going to work if they don't work from home, to going to the supermarket, going to the restaurant, doing any recreational activities that are indoors in public spaces. And to be honest, even in densely populated outdoor areas, you can still get COVID. So that has forced COVID cautious people to option A, continuously risk their health and possibly their lives in order to be a part of society, or option B, like me, to simply remove themselves from society, because society has decided that people like that don't deserve to be a part of society anymore, apparently, or that is at least how it feels. I guess the majority of people who don't mask anymore don't even consider the impacts that they're having. So I hope that I have made it more clear how I feel about being COVID cautious, and how I feel that it is extremely important for not just me but everyone to be COVID cautious, because the institutions that are supposed to keep public health safe seem to have abandoned us in order to keep everyone going to work in person and produce the maximum amount of profit. Or I don't know what the reason is for forcing everyone to ignore the pandemic. It is difficult to have to live as part of a society that deems you unnecessary, that deems you simply not valuable enough to be allowed to take part of society. It hasn't really been the best mental space to be at, to be living in a society that has deemed you disposable because of your chronic illnesses, because they deem you with your chronic illnesses to be the most at risk, and that this is the life that you deserve, being not part of society but outside of it. It's giving eugenics, really. So I hope that I have expressed myself clearly enough, that my headspace can be put out there, because it is important to listen to all voices, not only those who believe that the pandemic is over. Because the fact of the matter is that the pandemic is still here, it's still disabling, it is still ruining lives, and I believe that at some point we cannot keep on ignoring it, because the adverse effects both on the public health and also the healthcare system, that at some point simply will not be able to handle all of the people coming in with fresh long COVID. It's just going to be too much for society to handle. So, and I hope that that point comes soon, that everyone realizes that it is important to actually keep masking and advocate for cleaner air, because that is the most elementary thing, that is the most needed thing for this pandemic to actually end and stop disabling. And as someone with chronic illnesses, believe me, I know how much it sucks to be disabled. And I would not wish that on anyone. The funny thing is that people who are at 100% health, they never seem to consider the possibility that they can at any point become disabled. So I guess that's why people tend to think that long COVID is a thing that's not going to affect them until it does, inevitably, because people keep dismissing the pandemic and letting COVID run rampant. I hope that you understand my viewpoint now, and this has been a heavier video than I intended, because it is lovely spring and gardening season and everything, but you'll see me garden in the future. Gardening season is not over by far. So thank you for listening, and I will see you in the next one.